Thank you for coming. So we are going to talk about Lightning Data Service, which is a new service coming in pilot and even in beta in summer. So a quick word about me. I'm a Salesforce MVP, CTO at TechSay, which is a new company. I'm a co-leader of the Paris Developer Group. We are also organizing French Touch Dreaming, which is in September in Paris. So if you want to join us, we'll be happy to see you. Just before to start, who has already developed a Lightning component in the room? Did anyone already develop a Lightning? No? Just two, maybe? So you are all pretty new to Lightning component, right? Yeah. Okay. So the big picture is what? So you already seen Lightning experience on maybe a builder. If does anyone doesn't know what is a builder? You all know? Okay, great. So the idea is when you are doing a new component in Lightning, so you will be able to put it on the page thanks to a builder. And when you look at the page, here it's opportunity. So it's one page, but behind this, there are several components that are on the page. So this is a component, this is a component, this is a component. Other component behind the tabs. This is a component from the App Exchange, and you can also add your own component that you will develop yourself. So all these components, they will be put on the page and display as one application. So currently it's nice, but the problem is that all these components, they are going to query information from here as the opportunity. So let's say you have these components, and here in this white space you will add I don't know, 3 custom components that you are going to create. All these components are going to call the server to ask the same information about the opportunity. So before Lightning Data Service, let's say you have your 3 components in here. So this is client side and this is server side. What you will have to create and to write as code. So you will have your component markup, which is sort of HTML, JS controller, and one Apex controller that will do a query for you, like select name, stage name, whatever. It can be even worse because one component can only have one controller. So if you need to have additional information, for your 3 components, you will need to create 3 Apex controllers. So that means a lot of code, because you will have to, let's say if you want to query the name, you will have to query here, 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 do the JS controller here, 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 and use it here. So this is an example of fields that you are able to query. So let's say first component will get these fields, second one will get these fields, and third one this field. You can see that there are lots of fields that are in common. So you will call the server 3 times, let's say for nothing. So if you have, I don't know, 20 components on the page, you will have, performance won't be really good. So Lightning Data Service is something that, to me, so I've done some Lightning component development, it's really a game changer. So if you've done Visual Force, have you done Visual Force development before? It's sort of standard controller. So you won't have to query anything. So the thing is, you will still have to develop the markup in here, but then Lightning Data Service will do all the lifting for you, all the query, everything. So let's have a look. You still have the fields you had before. Previously, you were calling 3 times the server and getting back 3 times the same information. Now, what will do Lightning Data Service? It will know that you will need this field on opportunity, concatenate all the fields, do only one query to the server for you, come back and dispatch the field to the components. So you just have to write this part. Even better, let's say you have a new component on the page that is using a field that is already queried before. It will just use the local cache and not go back to the server. So in terms of performance, it's even better. So from a code point of view, previously you had to write everything, all this, the markup, the JS controller, the Apex controller. I'm not talking about if you have Apex, even with just one query, you need to write the test class also. So it's not difficult, it's just a lot of time. With Lightning Data Service, we just remove everything on here. So what you will write only this part of the code. So it will be much more simpler, easier for you. So you will just trash this. So, I mean, in terms of time you will spend in developing your component, is just awesome. So I don't know what you will do with this free time, but for me I will replace this by this code. You can choose whatever you want. So just if you have a look to code samples. So this is so if you don't know how Lightning components are made, maybe it will be a little bit. If you have questions, just ask me. So this is before Lightning Data Service. So here is your marker for a component. So what is interesting is you have a controller, which is an Apex class. You have a handler, which say, when my component is loaded, just call a method in my JavaScript. Here you have a JavaScript file. And what is this JavaScript file doing? All this code is just to call this Apex method. So then you need to say to the framework, just call the server, and when it's done, you need to say, okay, I have the callback, I get the value, I put it inside my attribute. So this code is just JavaScript to say, call the server, get me the name, for instance. And in the Apex class, it's just a method which is scoring whatever you want. So here it's the name. So you can see, plus the test class. So you can see when you are used to a standard controller in Visualforce, it's pretty easy. You just create a Visualforce, put, let's say, Apex input field, put the standard controller, and that's it, you got the name. And with, I don't know, 3 lines of code, you have a name display. For Lightning components, you have to write this. You have to write this, which is okay, it's sort of the Visualforce page, but you also have to write the Apex class on the other side, and you have to write the JavaScript in the middle. So it's a lot of code just to get the same thing as Visualforce. So for me, the first time I started to play with Lightning, I was like, I don't know, I will start with something really easy, I will display the opportunity name. And it was really like doing the markup, doing the Apex query, doing the JavaScript in the middle was like a lot of code just to say, take this value, put it here, put it here. So it was pretty painful. Okay, but now that you, with Lightning Data Service, it will be much more awesome because you will just have the markup. So that means that you will just have this part. So what should we look at here? It's this. So Lightning Data Service is this small part, and that's it. With this, I will say, okay, so get me the record that has this ID. So this ID, actually, if you are using App Builder, it's an attribute that is set automatically. So you will get it. Lightning Experience will push it to your component. So what you just have to do is put this little line of code, put the ID you want to query, the fields you want. I have just one, but I can put 5 fields if I want. And then there is an attribute where the result will be pushed in. And then I just have to use it here. And that's it. So if you compare to what we had before, it's much more smaller and much more easier for us to do. It really looks like what we had with standard controller in Visualforce. So here you can really see the code is almost the same size, except that all of this. So there are also some other stuff with it. So it's not only querying. So if I query, I just have the markup and that's it. It will do everything for me. If you have some method with it, like save and delete, the same thing as we have in a standard controller too, you will have to do a small JavaScript for it. But if you want to do the very basic stuff, it's just this line. So you will get record loader. Record loader is the name of the. I put the right name. So it's the name of the ID. So it says, give me the name of the attribute of the Lightning data service. And then it's just .save record, and that's it. And then in the middle, of course, there are some stuff because you might want to handle the callback differently. So if you want, let's say, if there is an error, you might want to display it. If you are in Lightning experience, you will maybe fire a toast. You know, when you're in Lightning, there is a little pop-up to say record saved. If you are in Lightning out, maybe you want to display it differently or whatever. But the really important part is just this line. It's really just takes the Lightning data service force record data and just save, and it will do everything for you. So, one of the benefits of Lightning data service, first one is really great, it's no Apex. So, because you know, just creating Apex to do a query to get a name or a few fields, it's really not interesting at all. And test class and everything, and the JavaScript in the middle just to pass the value is really interesting. Security, this is a big thing also, because if you create Apex to query fields, well, everything is up to you about security of the field. So if I query, let's say, stage name, and the guy doesn't have access to stage name, in Apex it's run in admin mode, system mode. That means that the field will be queried and displayed to the user. So if you are not careful and don't write the code correctly to check the access before returning to the client, you could display a component to a user, and this guy will have access to information he shouldn't have access to. With Lightning data service, as you are just passing the fields as an attribute, it will do the access check for you. So if the guy doesn't have access to a field, the field won't be returned. So this is a big news, important thing, big time saver. So same for CRUD. So if you try to save a record on an object where the user doesn't have the access, the right to save, it won't work. Whether in Visual in a custom Apex, it's up to you to do the normal check, which we are not always doing. So this is really great. It's a big time saver. Shared cache. So as you seen in the previous slide, all the fields are get back to the client and they are shared across components. So what does it mean? It means that let's say one of my components will update a value, the framework will do automatically for you event firing so that all the other components will be updated. Otherwise, if it's Apex, I mean, there are two identical fields, but they don't know about each other, so it's up to you to update the second component with the first one. Even worse, if it's component from the Apex change, there is no way they are aware about it, so it's even more complicated. So obviously, if there is a shared cache, you know that you won't have to call the server every time, so the performance will be better. And that's a good thing too. It's the framework will remember which component is using which field. So if I change name, it will only notify the component that use this field and not the other one. So if you have some code associated with it, it won't be refired for nothing. Currently there is an event which is, I think, force refresh view, and it's just something like, okay, I changed something, refresh everything. So if you have 10 components, you will just refire everything, maybe if you don't need to do it actually. So now it will be more intelligent than that, and just redispatch correctly, and only the code that is that needs to be updated will be fired. So in terms of performance, it will be much better than what we have now. And the last point is a good point too. I don't know if you noticed, but when we are here, I have the fields, I have the record ID, but there is no place where I say the object I want to query. Because actually what they are doing, I don't know if you know it, but in the ID, the first characters, actually it's the type of the object. So with the ID of the record, we can know if it's an opportunity, an account, a contact, a custom object. So Lightning Data Service is intelligent enough to get this ID and query the good object. So that's good. What does it mean? It means that if you have only a few fields, standard fields like a name, you could use the exact same component on opportunity, account, contact without changing anything. You won't have to create one for opportunity, a second one for contact, another one for account. It will work on all the pages. Okay. Next. So where it's supposed to be going, because I'm not from Salesforce, so I can't really say if it's gonna be out one day or not, but I hope it will. First, going out of beta, which is it will only be in beta in the summer. Previously it was in pilot, and lots of things changed between the pilot and the beta from what it was returning from the server. I hope it will be out of beta in the winter. More objects supported. There is a big page in the documentation which is a limitation. So currently there are things like opportunities and supported, lead isn't supported. I guess there are some technical stuff behind that. Obviously it will be supported when it's out of beta. But, list support. This is something that they were talking about at Dreamforce, so I guess at some point they will be able to release it, which is obviously you see that I'm passing an ID, but if I have a list and I want to display 5 information, either I have 4 first record data tag, or I do a custom Apex class and I create it myself, but there is no way to use a Lightning Data Service for now. So it's supposed to be on the roadmap, but who knows. One last thing, it's the support. Currently it's only supported in Lightning Experience and Salesforce 1. So I don't know if you've heard about Lightning Out. Lightning Out is a pretty cool feature, which is you have your component and you will say, okay, I will put it in Salesforce 1, in Lightning Experience, but also I will put it in my intranet, I will put it on my website, I will put it, and you could use it almost everywhere you want. You just need to be connected with Salesforce one way or another, but you can use the same component outside of Salesforce. So this is pretty cool, except that for now, Lightning Data Service is not working with Lightning Out. So even if you are using, I didn't try, but you can take a component and put it inside a visual force, and this is using Lightning Out. So I'm not sure it's even working if you try to put your component inside a visual force. But these are kind of things like they are just working on it. It's not finished, but I mean, if you start developing stuff, this is really something that will change the way you are developing Lightning components. So it's really, for me, it's really a great thing as a developer. So that's it for the day. I can give you a small demo if you want, but the thing is, as it's all in the background, there is no real difference between a component with Lightning Data Service and one without. So if you have questions, I prefer to answer the question, and if there is no question, I will show you quickly, but it's less interesting. Yes?
Yeah, I have a question. Do you know if this system is supporting external objects?
If there is?
External objects, Lightning Connect.
I don't think so. I didn't try. I tried with custom metadata, it's not working. And external object, I didn't try, but It's not in the documentation, so maybe it worked because I tried custom metadata because it's a query like any other object. So I thought maybe it will work, but I think I had the same error message as with opportunity. It says something like object not supported. So I think that for now it's more like a whitelist of objects, and I would say it's not working, but I could try. I wouldn't expect it. Any other question? Yeah.
Well, you said that if you could use the same component for multiple objects because you never like specify the object. But well, maybe if you specify some custom fields or fields that are not object agnostic, that will limit the component to that. Okay.
You mentioned something about security, but I didn't get you. It is enforcing the field security and sharing settings by default, or you can change that. I mean, if you are including some fields and that user is not allowed to see that.
So, if you are querying a field that you don't have access to,
yes,
you won't see it with like in data service.
Okay, but will you get an error, or you just avoid that custom field?
That's a good question. I didn't try. I would expect the field just to be null or something like that.
Okay.
But for sure, the data won't be back. I don't think you will get an error, but
okay.
I don't know. I will try.
I have a question. Can you parameterize the fields you are querying?
Yes,
It's like a string and
it's here. I put fields name. I could put name.
with an attribute.
I guess yes. I guess yes, because the record ID is an attribute. So I didn't try, but I would expect it to work. So that could be a thing maybe for a but yes and no, because if you query a field that you will use it for something, so maybe
It makes the component, well, that would be a feature that it will make it loosely coupled of the object.
yes.
That would be good.
But I mean, if you query a custom field, except if you have 3 objects with 3 fields with different name but same functionality, same business meaning, well, this custom field will use it, I guess, to display it somewhere, do a calculation or whatever. So I think it will work to query the thing dynamically, but then you will have to use it, and here, or I don't know, it depends on your component, but yes, it could be a solution. Good idea.
Probably it's too early to ask that, but we are curious. Do you know if it's possible to ask true relations to objects that are related?
Like querying a field from another object?
Yeah.
I think it's you can query up to I think it's 5 levels, like in formula. I think I didn't try, but it's in the doc also.
Okay.
Is it mandatory to use the standard ID, or you can use an external ID, for example,
Here?
when you recover the
What
use an external ID maybe, or not the...
you mean like no, I think it's only I don't know, but I would no, yeah, I would expect it to work only with Salesforce ID, at least for now, because they are using the ID to know which object it is. So yes, there is a way to find which object using the external ID, but I'm not even sure if you have 2 objects like count and contact,
Yeah, with the same external ID.
and you can have the same external ID on both. So I don't think it's working. Any other question? You feel like you have a question? No? This is pretty new, but it is really, I think it's really game changing the way you will develop components. It will be much more easier. I don't know. Because you win a lot of time. No Apex means no Apex class. It's just, but at some point we'll have some.
Is it documented? Because
Like
one
web
thing
service?
that's a bit lagging, that's
Yeah,
there are a lot of features that
Yeah,
they're not documented.
it is, yes. So there is an issue currently with the Salesforce doc. I don't know if you notice it. If you try to find something in Google, there is nothing that is. It is pretty painful. I hope they will fix it soon. I know they are aware about it, so hopefully it will be fixed pretty soon. The doc is nice because there is a full example of everything you can do. There is a doc about, how to. Oh, what's that doc? They really want you not to see the doc. They explain you how to load a record, how to save it, how to create it, delete it, make some changing, and how to handle the fact that if you have two components, you will be able to refresh or not the value. Because there is an option, you can load the data in view mode or edit mode. It's like, if it's in view mode, if I refresh the component 1, it will propagate the values everywhere. If it's in edit, it will feel like that maybe you are editing something and it won't refresh automatically. So you have some option behind it to decide whether or not, when you save something, you want to propagate the change or not. So how to handle the error, etc. But if you go to the doc, you will see that for every functionality, you have a full working example about markup, JavaScript. There is the same for saving. And there is a nice, where is it? There is a nice full example here, so you can just copy paste it, and you have a full example working. And the important thing currently is this: it's a consideration or limitation. So you see, these are the only available objects for now. So it's quite limited. Well, the ones that are missing obviously are opportunity and lead and things like that, but I think it will be there pretty soon.
Fabien, time is over. We have to wrap up.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much for the presentation.